Right. So see, we are starting with a support vector machine, which is again uh, a supervised machine learning algorithm, right? Uh, it can be used both for right regression, right, as well as classification, right? Now, first I'll show you how support vector machine can be used for classification, right? Right. Now, it classifies data into groups, right? Uh, by drawing the best possible line, right, between different groups of data. Now, I'll show you how it happens, right? Uh, let's take this simple example first of all. Now, can you see some red dots and blue dots, blue squares in front of you? Guys, can you see,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So, let's say you have to separate, right, these dots. Now, first, how it is done, I'll tell you, right? But first, I'll introduce you to some of the important concepts, right? Now, tell me.
Let's understand how a support vector machine, or SVM, separates two classes. In this diagram, the red circles represent the first class, while the blue squares represent the second class. The dashed line in the center is called the decision boundary. This is the line that the SVM uses to classify new data points. The two solid parallel lines are called hyperplanes. One hyperplane touches the closest red points, and the other touches the closest blue points. The distance between the decision boundary and each hyperplane is called the margin. SVM tries to maximize this margin because a larger margin usually leads to better generalization and more accurate predictions on unseen data. Notice the circled data points touching the hyperplanes. These are the support vectors. They are the most critical data points because they determine the exact position of the decision boundary. If these points move, the decision boundary also changes. Interestingly, all the other points have little or no influence on the boundary. In simple terms, SVM ignores the easy-to-classify points and focuses only on the most challenging ones, the support vectors, to build the best possible classifier. Remember, in support vector machines, only the support vectors matter. They are the foundation of the optimal decision boundary. Let's see how a support vector machine works using a real-world example of email spam detection. On this graph, the x-axis represents the number of suspicious words in an email, while the y-axis represents the number of links contained in the email. The emails marked with N are legitimate or non-spam emails. Notice that they contain very few suspicious words and only a small number of links. The emails marked with S are spam emails. They contain many suspicious words and several links, making them more likely to be unwanted or malicious. When we train an SVM model with these examples, it learns the optimal decision boundary that separates spam from non-spam emails. Instead of considering every email equally, SVM focuses only on the emails that are closest to the boundary. These are called support vectors, and they determine exactly where the boundary should be placed. Now imagine a new email arrives with 5 suspicious words and 3 links. Since it lies closer to the spam side of the decision boundary, the SVM classifies it as spam. Similarly, an email with 1 suspicious word and 1 link falls on the non-spam side and is classified as non-spam. This ability to find the best separating boundary is why support vector machines are widely used in spam filtering, fraud detection, face recognition, and medical diagnosis. Support vector machines don't just separate data, they find the widest possible margin, making their predictions accurate and reliable even for new emails. Let's understand how a support vector machine, or SVM, classifies transactions as fraud or genuine. In this example, each point represents a transaction. The x-axis shows the transaction amount, while the y-axis represents the transaction frequency. The genuine transactions are clustered at 2, 1, 3, 1, and 2, 2, shown in black. The fraud transactions are located at 10, 6, and 11, 7, shown in red. Instead of simply drawing any line between these two groups, SVM finds the decision boundary that maximizes the margin, creating the largest possible gap between the two classes. The transactions closest to this boundary are called support vectors. They are the most critical data points because they determine the position of the separating line. As a result, any new transaction can be classified by checking which side of the decision boundary it falls on. This maximum margin approach makes SVM highly accurate and robust, especially for binary classification problems like fraud detection. SVM separates classes by finding the boundary with the maximum margin, leading to better generalization and more accurate predictions. Once SVM finds the best decision boundary, the next question is how strict should that boundary be? A hard margin SVM assumes the data is perfectly separable. It does not allow any data point to cross the margin or be misclassified. The decision boundary is placed so that every point stays outside the margin. While this works well for clean datasets, it is very sensitive to noise and outliers. A soft margin SVM, on the other hand, is more practical. It allows a few points to violate the margin or even be misclassified if doing so results in a better overall model. Instead of fitting every training point perfectly, it focuses on achieving the best balance between a wide margin and classification accuracy. The parameter C controls this trade-off. A large value of C tries to minimize misclassification, making the model behave more like a hard margin. A small value of C allows more violations, resulting in a wider margin and better generalization to unseen data. In real-world applications like fraud detection, spam filtering, and medical diagnosis, soft margin SVM is preferred because real data almost always contains noise and overlapping classes. So far, we've seen how support vector machines work well when the data can be separated by a straight line. But what happens if the data is mixed together in a curved or circular pattern? This is where the kernel trick comes into play. Instead of trying to separate the data in its original two-dimensional space, the kernel function mathematically maps the data into a higher dimensional space. In that new space, the previously overlapping classes often become linearly separable. The amazing part is that SVM performs this transformation without actually calculating the new coordinates. It uses a kernel function to compute the relationships directly, making the process both efficient and powerful. Among the different kernels, the RBF kernel is the most commonly used because it handles complex, non-linear datasets exceptionally well. The kernel trick is one of the key reasons why SVM performs so effectively in applications such as fraud detection, image recognition, handwriting recognition, and medical diagnosis.